Hey, Magic fans, welcome back. This is your captain speaking. Tray tables and seat backs are full upright position. Man, haven't said that in a while. We've got the new hot deck, hot thing, hot artifacts, hot rabbits in standard. This is the deck that if you plan on playing this weekend with the new standard format in your F&M or any other local tournaments or even a big one, you're going to see it. So you might as well know about it. So before we get started on it, don't forget, comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We get to 2,000 subscribers. That'll be our second milestone, our second giveaway, and it'll be twice as big, twice as bad, and probably twice as messed up as I just screwed this last one up. But hey, we're getting there. We're getting there. It's going to go off this weekend. You want to know how to enter? Look on the channels. It's in there. Haha. Anyway, so with all that said, don't forget, links in the description to support the channel, yada, yada, yakety schmackety. So here is the deck. The deck is a white-red deck, and I don't even know what to call this thing other than just red-white Boros tokens, I guess. Boros things, Boros populate, Boros hate life. I don't know. Anyway, so this deck is sporting 2 Biza the Bounding Springs. If you guys don't remember this bad boy, this is what it is. So as you can see here, it's 4 mana for a 4/5. Whenever it enters, you create a treasure token if the opponent has more lands. Gain 4 life if they have more life than you. Gain 2 blue fish if they have more creatures. And draw a card if the opponent has more cards than you. This card's pretty hefty. It's sporting around a $12 to $15 price tag. And there's a good reason for it, because this thing's badonkers. Donkers. It's huge for 4 mana. It's just large. Large and in charge. So, with that being said, that's the part of it that really does the thing. Now, the rest of the deck, mainly artifacts. You have your carrot cake. You can see it here. As you can see with the carrot cake, white and 1, you get a 1/1 white creature token, and you get to scry, and you can sacrifice it to gain 3 life. This keeps you alive, makes dudage, and is really disturbing as a picture. But anyway, so that's what that does. We have Urbrass Forge. If you don't know what this does yet, that you haven't been playing Magic yet lately, 3 mana, red and 2. At the beginning of every upkeep, you put a counter on it, and then the creature comes in that is an X1, and the X is as big as the counters, and it has trample. It dies at the end of turn. But when this thing gets up to 7 or 8 counters, you start making 9/1 tramplers. Nobody cares if they die at the end of the turn, because they just keep getting bigger. It's disgusting and pretty good at the same time. Anyway, so back to this. So those are the 8 artifacts. There's 13 instants. We have 2 Get Lost. And if you don't know what a Get Lost is, it's $6 currently, which is probably one of the best removal spells in current standard. It's a white and 1 instant. You can destroy, well, damn near anything. I'll just go show it to you anyway. You can destroy, because you won't believe me if I tell you, creature, enchantment, or planeswalker. So, anything but an artifact or a land. This kills everything. But the opponent gets 2 map tokens that can pump their dude, yada yada. You know what map tokens do. But still, this is some of the best universal removal there is in standard. And in general. Just like, this card's good. Now, we get to the good stuff. Virtue of Loyalty. This hemorrhoid. 2 white and 3 at the beginning of your end step. Put a +1/+1 counter each creature you control, and you untap them. This makes swing at your opponent really easy. And if you don't swing at your opponent, your shit just gets bigger until it can swing. But if you ain't throwing hands now, you will be throwing hands later. Also, the ability of white and 1 to make a 2/2 knight to help fuel this madness at instant speed, so you can what do they call that? Ambush Viper somebody to death when they attack you. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. This thing's also sporting a pretty hefty price tag at $10. Next, we have 4 Lightning Helix. If you don't know what that is, I feel sorry for you. Red and white, 3 damage. Target to any target, gain 3 life. Torch the tower. This is really good because you have artifacts you can sack to it. So for 1 red, it does 2 damage to a creature or planeswalker. If you bargain, it does 3, and you get to scry. And if the permanent dealt damage dies, it exiles. So this is pretty good in the grand scheme of things as far as removal goes, especially when you're sporting all these different things you can sack to it. Because don't forget, that token that Urbrass Forge makes, if it ain't getting through, sack it and bolt something out of the way, because you'll get another token later. And if they don't block the token, because they probably won't, because it's going to die anyway, before the end of the turn and it dies, sack it and bolt something. Like, there's tons of synergy here. Very good. Now, when things get hairy, you have Sunfall. If you don't know what this does, let me show you this monstrosity. Wasn't real popular when it first came out, but now people have realized how absurd this card is. 5 mana Wrath that exiles all creatures. And then you get an Incubate token with X +1/+1 counters on it, which is the number of creatures that you exile. Now, the +1/+1 counters on the token, for 2 mana, you turn that token into a creature with a 0/0 creature, which if you wrath away 5 creatures, which includes your creatures, this is now a 5/5. It is large and in charge, and will probably beat someone in the face to death. So, again, very good card. And you got 4 of them, so yeah. Now, the big thing that's come out for make this deck really possible is from Bloomburrow, Caretaker's Talent. I'll talk about it later in some of my other box opening videos. This card came out around a couple $, but has really spiraled out of control because of what it does. And now what it does, well, for a white and 2, excuse me, whenever one or more tokens you control enter, you draw a card. Did I mention Urbrass makes a token every turn? Every turn. It only happens once, but once is enough. And also, notice it says each turn. So on your opponent's turn, if they try to swing in or they don't swing in or whatever, and you make a 2/2 knight at instant speed, draw a card. Because it's not your turn, it's their turn. You can do it once per turn. It's insane. Also, after you get it on the ground, for 1 white, just 1, not only do you get this ability, but when it becomes level 2, create a token that's a copy of a target token you control. End of your turn, make a 2/2 knight. I draw a card. My turn, 1 white, make a 2/2 knight. Draw a card. Like, how absurd is this? Or, if things are going real well, activate your Sunfall token, which probably killed about 4 to 5 creatures. Copy that monstrosity. Prepare to beat face. Draw a card. Yeah, white's never had this much power in a long time. And then, if shit gets, if you're just not killing them fast enough, for a white and 3, because you haven't drawn a card from this, you can make all your tokens +2/+2. So now they're really large. And when you do make one, you're going to kill them after you draw a card. So, yeah. This is a $10 card. It went from $1 or $2 to $10 really quick. And things like this is why I don't post the cards on eBay right away. Originally, I would post the cards I thought were no good and then hold the other cards back. Now, it's honestly just better, I think, from a seller standpoint, to just wait until the market settles and post everything at once. Yes, some things will get more expensive, other things will go down, but in the end, it comes out the same or normally better. So yeah, this card, wow, just wow. All right, and with that, you got 1 Temporal Lockdown, and the whole reason for this is the mirror match. It gets rid of anything 2 or less. That gets all their tokens, all their things. The only thing it can't snipe is the Urbrask and the talent that we just looked at, which is enough to probably still kill you, but at least it will slow them down. So, yeah, only starts 1, though. So, then we have 2 Archangel Elspeth. Where did this come from, right? 2 white and 2 from, God, what is that set symbol? It's been so long. March of the Machines. Wow. Did anybody ever play March of the Machine cards? Well, y'all playing them now. This Planeswalker comes with 4 loyalty. For a +1, make a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. You know what that means? Not only does it protect yourself, but since it's on 4, you're probably going to draw a card. So, yeah. And then -2, put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature. It becomes an angel in addition to other types and gains flying. Evasion. This says, I don't care how many creatures you have. I'm going to fly over the top and punch you in the face anyway. And then -6, return all non-land permanent cards, mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Everything in this deck is 3 or less. if the opponent wipes your board, destroys everything, you lay this. If you get it to 6, it is game on. All your talents come into play. All your forges come into play. All your carrot cakes come into play. I'm not sure what doesn't come into play. Let's take a look. We know what it does now. Let's see. Caretaker's talent comes into play. That won't come into play. The forge, carrot cakes, yeah. So, seems pretty good. Now, will you play that? Probably not that often, but if you ever do, sweet mother of God, it's going to be over quick. Then we have the land. 4 Inspiring Vantage, red, white. Fountain Port, we'll talk about that in a minute. Elegant Parlor, Battlefield, Mountain, Restless Bivouac. Bivouac. It's a moose. No, it's not a moose. It's a cow. Anyway, Sunken Citadel. This is really cool. I'll tell you why in a minute. Port Plains, 2 Demolition Fields because of Sunken Citadel and Fountain Port, to be honest with you. And 1 Mirrex. And here's why. So Fountain Port, all-star of the deck. Taps for a Cuddlist. For 2, you can sacrifice a token and draw a card. If you haven't noticed with this deck, you always have tokens. If you don't have a token for 3 and tapping, you can pay 1 life to make a 1/1 blue fish creature token that you can sack later. Or just pay 4 mana to make a treasure token, which you can also sack later. Yeah, and also when it comes into play, if you have, your talents on the battlefield and you make one of these tokens, you're going to draw a card. Are you starting to notice a pattern? Anyway, and then the cool thing about this, yeah, it seems expensive, right? We all think that. However, this thing came out in Lost Caverns, which nobody really thought about. Sunken Citadel, it enters tapped, and you choose a color. 1 mana of the chosen color. That's fine. You choose white or red, whatever you like. However, down here, add 2 mana of the chosen type to activate abilities of land sources. You get 2 of these on the battlefield, not legendary. You can activate your fountain for 3 lands and either make a treasure, make a 1/1 dude, or draw a card if you want to sack something. Like, it gets absurd quick. This thing fuels fire. Plus, don't forget, you do have a man land, which you can proceed to punch them in face. And if you forget what it does, here it is. Comes in tapped, yada yada. For white, red, and 1, it becomes a 2/2 red, white ox. Till their turn, it's still a land. Whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Probably this one. Anybody remember Raging Ravine? Red, green, the land that once you swung once, you couldn't stop it. Now it's game on and will probably game over. This is that little brother. And it won't be little for long, and shit's going to get real. So, yeah. Is this the best deck list? Who knows? Looks pretty strong to me. So if you're planning on playing Standard this weekend, or Friday, or whenever, I thought I'd give you a heads up, because if you don't play this, either everybody's playing against it, nobody has the cards for it, or honestly the internet's out and nobody's been online to see it. I'm just going to say it. That's what it is. So anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I do appreciate it. Until next time, be kind, and as always, I hope to see you across from the game table. We'll probably both be playing this deck, but anyway.